It's kind of scary because if that happens, there are so many movies that are not going to get made because the producers aren't even going to want to go that far to even try to get the funding because they're going to have to spend their own money just to get to that point.
That's horrible. Like I'm looking into screenwriting myself, and I think censorship is just a terrible thing. And you know, I mean, if people don't like a movie, don't go see it.
My instinct was to recoil in, like, you've got to be kidding. We have enough restrictions just trying to get our movies made, especially locally, and the tax credits give those of us who are creative, who are artists, a voice or an opportunity to have our voices heard.
I'm sure the intention of the bill wasn't to be put forth as a censorship bill. We're going to censor Canadian movies, but it's certainly being played out that way. And that's, whenever you get into that kind of situation, it's dangerous. You never know, not necessarily what the intention of the bill is, but how it's going to be enforced.
It's a travesty.
Okay.
It's
I looked that up and just play it over and over?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
It's you can say it's fascist, you can say it's totalitarian even. Right. It's also, to me, it's not Canadian. It's the most un-Canadian bill I can imagine.
Censorship is wrong. Like, seriously, guess what? If you want high-quality content, you have to allow people to do their thing. And I understand that film is, about commerce and art. Specifically when it comes to commerce, if you're already cutting things, it's already difficult enough to make a film, let alone cutting tax incentives, essentially one of the primary financial incentives for anyone even putting money towards a film.
I don't really think it's the government's place to involve themselves in the artistic process of a nation. An artist's job is to reflect the society around them. And if the government doesn't like the reflection seen back in the mirror, they should change the policies.
I may not agree with some films and how they are. I am not big on overly sexual themes if it's gratuitous, or even a lot of violence if it's gratuitous. But I also don't believe in censorship, and I don't think you can force people to not make a particular film. And to go about it that way is absolutely ridiculous. The thing is, what you do, if you're going to put that kind of censorship in, you put it in before. You don't even give them, they can't start doing the film, and then you pull all the money away. It's like kind of giving, it's like giving a kid a chocolate bar and letting them have one bite and then taking it out of their hands and saying, no, you can't have that.
Why can't we decide where our taxpayer dollar goes as well? So it's no different, I don't think. And I thought she made a really good point that, we are all responsible for contributing to paying money to the government, and we should all be allowed to see our tax dollars spent in the way we...
what's happening with our money, basically.
Exactly. And just because, I still have to pay for schools, but I don't have a child, so why can't the money that I pay going to schools go to films that I want to see made as well?
I think one of the things that people aren't discussing with it is the person behind the introduction of the bill is a Christian fundamentalist and an evangelist, I believe.
Yes.
I believe that as soon as religion and the state start getting involved, we get into trouble. And really, art is completely subjective, and for one person's opinion to be pushing our rule makers and our politicians and our fund givers, it becomes dangerous.
Not a fan of censorship at all. So I'm completely against it. I think it's so, wrong isn't even, I don't know where to begin, but it's just, it's going down a path. If we start allowing this and censorship and a small group of people telling us what we are allowed to produce, watch, and feel, basically, I think we're just heading down a really terrible, terrible path. And so I really hope it doesn't pass. And I'm really hoping that we have a future government that won't be discussing this anymore.
It is the government that gives me money to make films, and so I feel a responsibility towards that. At the same time, I feel a responsibility towards art and what I need to make. And there's a part of me that feels that some making it more difficult to make a film or difficult to express yourself is actually good for the expression, to make, to have something to fight against. But there's also the other part of me where, if it's oppressive, I guess, is it crossing the line? And I think this bill is crossing that line.
I disagree on that very much. People work hard to make a film. They spend all their money in producing, and there's so much that goes into it. They should just accept it. It's art, and, market it properly.
If you don't want to watch something, you should have the choice not to want to watch it. For my government to tell me that I can't watch something because some gray-haired old man sitting in an office and it wasn't connected with the common man in 45 years says it isn't right. It really bothers me. I really have a problem with somebody telling me how to be creative and express myself. Conversely, my film's a romantic comedy. Doesn't really challenge the censorship bill. It's fun. It's lighthearted. But it makes me want to go out there to challenge the censorship bill.
I think it's censorship, and I think it's really dangerous to put that kind of power in the hands of the state. So I think I think we're getting into very, very ugly territory when the government is able to decide what is considered acceptable material for the viewing public to watch.
That's interesting. They already do censorship with TV and everything, and it would be a shame to do it with film as well, because that's why we have ratings, PG and this and that, is to make sure that certain audiences are being kept away.
With any kind of funding, there's going to be restrictions.
Right.
And unless you're willing to go out and get your own funding, as an artist in a working community, running a business, you need to be prepared to fit in some confines. And now this isn't specifying what are acceptable confines or what are unacceptable, but there's always going to be that kind of thing, and hopefully the government and the artist can work together to create a bill that's acceptable on both sides.
I'm not as close to it as some of my peers and fellow filmmakers, and I know there's a lot of actors out there and producers, and we all feel kind of shell-shocked from it. I wonder how it came about. I wonder where. There was a cocktail party in Ottawa somewhere, and
it was an evangelist based on the different stories from different people that heard. It was some sort of an evangelist that brought it up.
Right.
Yeah.
Said, why are we funding Canadian films that aren't Canadian?
Yeah.
And it probably happened over a huge $20,000 spread of food and cocktails, and unfortunately that's how some politics work.